Beautiful, beautiful trade, a massive 10-hour win. Hello everybody and welcome back. Let's review the price action for today's 7th of July on a Friday and what moves, hey? Crazy moves, and I hope you capitalized on this because I wasn't able to, but I will break down the trade for you. I was in an order, but unfortunately it did not tag me in, but the place that I placed the order. So don't worry, we'll go over it in detail. Let's look at this 4H chart first. So look at that perfect movement of the market, right? I mean, you can draw a line chart on this and it's just picture perfect. You have a massive impulse, you have a correction, and then you have the next 4H boss. That's, guys, how market moves, right? You might have some complex pullbacks here, a lot of indecision, but overall, this is the structure of the market. You have the push, you have the pullback into the discount, and then you have the next push, right? And then what do we expect after the next break of structure? Some sort of a pullback into a new range. So this 4H boss, now we have this new low, so there you go. And then we expect some sort of pullback right into the discount of this range, and then we have another push. The order flow is bullish on the 4H swing. Let's look at 1H. And let me hide my trade actually. There you go. Okay, so what happened? On the 1H, and I will explain the POI selection and why I took that trade, yes? So yesterday what happened? We had a massive 1H boss. It pulled in, had a sweep of all of these lows, which sort of gives an indication, like I mentioned today, that we might go bullish today. And the price ranged quite a bit, and this is a typical price action when you have major news coming in New York. So if you have like an NFP like we did today, it ranges quite a bit before it commits, and when it commits, right? It moves. So when I came in this morning, the number of things that happened. First of all, I was looking at this 1H chart. So this is our swing 1H boss, right? We are still strong low. It swept, came back. We had a 1H chalk bearish, right? And then we had a 4H chalk bearish also. But now we're playing the internal. And the boss, the structure-wise, the swing 1H boss and the swing 4H, they are both bullish, right? We just had this chalks in these directions, but this wick tells us that the price, massive rejection, right? So the price could be moving upwards. We just have to wait for confirmation and enter into our trades. Okay, so what happened this morning? We came in this morning, we had a perfect chalk, an internal chalk on 1H, which sort of gave me an indication that maybe price is ready to move up. What happened was it did sweep this liquidity at the bottom, exactly like the trade that we had yesterday. Yes, I believe it was yesterday. So I'll put the description, the trade into the description of this video. But we had a nice sweep, and this was the zone that I was interested in. Okay, so the price swept this. We had a chalk upwards, and then I was interested at this point in time. So let's look at 11 on the 15-minute. What happened? Did it give me any confirmation, right? So this is the chalk that I just showed you guys on the 1H. It took the liquidity on 1H, and this was the POI that it gave me, this 1 hour POI, right? Very high probability POI. Let me get rid of this right now, and I'll explain why I had that over there. But what happened? I was waiting for a good confirmation. This came up into this supply zone right here. So let me mark that for you guys there. And it gave a reaction, and then it pushed up. It became a flip zone as well, this right here. And at this point in time, I was just waiting, right? So what the trade idea that I had was that if it sweeps liquidity here, as such, it did, and then it gave me a chalk immediately on the 15-minute. We are on the 15-minute time frame, so watch this. If it swept this liquidity right here, and then it gave me a chalk immediately, I would have entered as so on this candle right here at the 15-minute 25% distal, and then waited for this push. But instead, what happened? It never gave me any confirmation. So I saved myself a loss. I wasn't anticipating any move. I was actually waiting for confirmation, like we all must do if you want to be successful traders. Not waiting is gambling. So unless, I'm sorry, I'm coming back to this, unless you are very confident in your narrative, you're confident it is a very high probability POI and the discounts, and you have all the confidences, you can risk enter, but I would advise against. Okay, moving on. What price actually did was that it swept completely this entire 1H POI. So when it swept this, right, it completely swept all of this liquidity, right, on the 15-minute. It swept this, and it had an aggressive push. We had our chalk at this point in time over here. Once we had that chalk, this was the pivot candle that I was interested in for long, right? And I will show you where that thing was, right there. So look at that. Beautiful, beautiful trade, a massive 10-hour win. Unfortunately, I didn't get tagged into this because I was waiting for the 25%, and then it just never came back, right? I would have broken even the minute this high over here got crossed. I would have broken even, and then we knew that the 1H was weak high, right? I knew that it's going to break. We could have targeted this 1H supply, or you could have targeted 5-hour, 10-hour, whatever have you. But in fact, up all the way up to this point, we are sitting at what? 12, almost 13, 12.7, 13, almost 13 hour, right? Now, the learnings from this, is the following. I never got involved into this later on. Right? I do not want to panic. I do not want to catch a running trade. I don't want to be involved in FOMO. I knew news was coming in, so there's going to be a lot of chopping around. So I did not want to risk capital, right? You don't want to risk your capital. Your number one priority as a trader should be to protect your capital and get involved in a trade that is high probability, matches your narrative, get involved in a trade, and then forget about it, right? Once you're involved in a trade, you should have all the confidence it's going to go in your direction because of all the work you put in before entering the trade. And if it stops you out, it stops you out. That's just part of trading. But in this case, when I saw myself, right, look at the emotions, when I saw myself like a pip, barely a pip, 2 pips, and it missed me, and I could have market ordered, I could have done a lot of stuff over here, but that would have been not my plan. I would not have followed my process. The key is here, it's not about winning a trade, a single trade, or getting that massive return, right? The key is that are you consistent in following your process day in and day out? It should be repetitive like clockwork. It should be boring. You should look at the trade and say visually that this is my bread and butter setup. If it's not there, don't get involved. Don't gamble away your money. And that's where a lot of people get trapped and lose a lot of their investment and money, unfortunately. So what happened here? It came up, it broke. And I wanted to show you also there was another opportunity, but it was just not a random opportunity, right? There was another opportunity. I moved back to 1H and I saw what happened. So when price moved in here, so just to give you an idea where the trade was on this candle and just blasted upwards, right? So when I came back to 1H and I saw this chalk happen again, internal. So we had the bullish chalk over here. It came back, it swept the low, and then aggressively pushed up. Very good indication. I had marked, which I earlier deleted this zone here, right? And then I was like, okay, fine, maybe price comes in over here and then I can get involved according to my plan, because that's my plan. Price has to go into my 1H POI and then I wait for 15-minute confirmation entries. Go into 15-minute. And what did I have? So price just kept moving upwards. If price had come down, maybe taken this guy here as liquidity sweep or taken this guy here as liquidity sweep, gave me an entry model, meaning gave me a chalk over here, and then I could have gotten involved on the pivot candle. That would have been perfect. It would have matched my process of entry. And if that was a loss, it was a loss. I would have accepted the risk. But, I just did not want to catch a running train, and then the news was coming in and all of that good stuff. So I just was not interested in getting involved. One last thing, when you are involved in a trade like this, yes, and you have news coming up, and you are, have massive profit on your account, chances are that you're going to be running very, very high on emotions when you see the price go all the way up and then pull all the way back. So in hindsight, this looks excellent. I should have been involved in this. And typically these would play out if you have a good trade like this and you walk away from your computer, right? You go ahead, go to a gym, go to a restaurant, whatever have you. But if you are sitting there and monitoring your trades, candle by candle, or coming back every 15 minutes to see what price is doing, and you have this massive profit, and you see that keep coming down, oh my God, the emotions are running wild. Should I close? Will it, take me out for a break even? So imagine a scenario where you're 50K, 100K in profit. Do you want to see it come all the way down to break even? 100K in your account, you did not close it, and it goes down for a break even, right? And this is how you want to think of it. It's not about chasing hours. It's about, do you have the strength and the capacity to hold on to your trades, which is, do you have a plan that tells you to hold on to your trade? Then you follow your process. If you have a plan that says you want to do a trailing stop loss, then follow your trailing stop loss as a process. But you cannot change on the whims as price is developing and change your plan. Okay, fine, I always wanted to go break even, but in this one I'm going to do a trailing stop loss, right? Because that skews all the data that you've been collecting, and then essentially you have a strategy that may have a completely different outcome. So the point being, yes, it was a massive trade, a beautiful trade, but would you have really held it that long? I initially targeted the highs over here, and once it had broken, for me, I know for sure that I would have probably closed somewhere here. I would not have, as my personality, see that much of drawdown and then anticipating a push. Simple as that. Because yesterday, or it was a couple of days back, we had a trade that I closed at 2R, but instead of going all the way to 5, it barely touched 4.67, something along those lines, and then it turned completely against it and broke even. So if you are a fixed target 5-hour person, that went all 95% to your target and then stopped you out. How would you deal that emotionally? And that weighs very heavy on your trading mindset. So just a few things to ponder and reflect upon. But if you caught this, congratulations. It was a beautiful entry, very, very clean setup. The entire narrative makes sense. And then if you did not catch this, then hopefully you learned something today. All right, guys, catch y'all later. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye now.